Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're starting a series covering Castlevania Lord of Shadow Mirror of Fate HD. This is the HD version of, according to Wikipedia, the direct sequel to Castlevania Lord of Shadow, which is weird because it certainly is then followed by Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. So I believe what this is a more classical 2.5D 2D Castlevania Metroidvania style game, which I guess if that is true, this will be the first traditional Castlevania game I've ever played. This was clearly made for Xbox controls because like it didn't even want to go forward with a mouse click. It was immediately button prompts. I'm playing this of course on the Steam version of PC. I do have an Xbox One controller, so that's not a big deal. But then I want to have to ask about why there's only 2 data slots. That seems kind of crazy when it's always been at least 3 in any other game. That does seem like an unnecessary thing to limit. As far as options and settings, this is completely basic. It didn't start at 1080p, but I could turn it up to 1080p, and it had everything else on: full screen, motion blur, and anti-aliasing. It wants you to adjust the brightness. I'm going to leave it where it is, even though I can see the moon on the left. I think the default brightness is probably just fine for YouTube. And then audio wise, you just have a standard start in 5 out of 10 option, which is nice that it starts in the middle, but it's kind of useless because you're not balancing any other volumes. I turned on subtitles. The real question I guess would be, could I change difficulty to easier, or would that hurt me? If you're new to Castlevania Lords of Shadow series or prefer an easier combat experience so you can concentrate on the story, please select easy. Levels will contain lots of checkpoints, and your progress will be saved during boss fights. Many maps will have all navigation enabled by default. If you play normal, think yourself good at combat games. Not sure if I would agree with that. Levels will have some checkpoints. Progress will be saved during boss fights. The minimap will have all navigational aids enabled by default. So no level or boss checkpoints on hard mode, and by default all minimap navigation aids will be turned off, although they can be re-enabled in game. And then hardcore mode is there'll be no level or boss checkpoints, and by default all minimap navigations will be turned off. So it's just even more difficult. So leaving it at normal probably is the way to test this, and we'll just start with that. And then it's obvious there is a chapter select in the boss rush mode, so it's weird that there would be a chapter select if it is a true traditional Castlevania game. And then cinematics and credits are both locked. It's a little weird that credits are locked, but because there's really no options, there's no setup, let's jump in here. Again, it's going to ask what difficulty. Thanks for that. Let's play. Now, I could be surprised here. This could actually be still a 3D action-adventure game like the first game. But if this is a direct sequel also, now this animation looks completely different. This looks like something for the DS, and this was, I believe, originally on the DS. So yeah, I imagine I wasn't really expecting cel-shaded animation in it, but I wasn't expecting 3D graphics at all. This isn't a continuation of what the story was in the first game, because the continuation of the story, the teaser for Lord of Shadows 2, was it was going to take place in a future in present day, which really would take the Castlevania series away from what it's supposed to be. Like, the Castlevania series is always, you're in basically Dracula's castle fighting Dracula over and over again. This animation looks pretty bad with the wind effects. So, I'm in control now. Interesting. I can't walk away. So, it's going more 2.5D than I even expected it to be. By the way, the vibration is working on my controller, but not to any real effect. It's vibrated once when I got on the horse, and once when the werewolf jumped across the screen, and that just now it vibrated when he growled. So we have the cross with the chain, which is basically whip. Press X for direct attack, Y for area attacks, and A to jump. Combine these together to unleash deadly moves. Okay. Area attack is a more vertical attack. Wonder if I was supposed to be keeping these guys alive. Well, I failed at that miserably. If that was the case. Left trigger to block. So left trigger and dodge backwards with the left stick. Although I pushed down on it. Seems like both work. I don't know how you can be expected to keep those guys alive. And I'm not sure if this game has any Steam achievements, since this is probably a pretty cheap port. This was around 2013, 2014, the beginning of the end of Konami not really caring about video games, so the HD version was released on the Xbox 360, and then I imagine it was just cheaply ported to the Steam, and I wouldn't be surprised if that means there actually aren't any. So we lost our last guy. I think he would have done that anyways. I don't think I synced that. Right trigger to grab the enemy from a distance. Interesting. This does not feel like a Castlevania game at all. I imagine you're invincible when in this mode. So we're gonna see this quite a bit. Yeah, right now this does not feel like what a standard Castlevania game is, because while Castlevania games, to my understanding, are kind of difficult Metroidvania games, they still mostly center around not having to do a lot of attacks for enemies. And on normal mode, these werewolves feel a lot stronger than I would have thought they should be.
Is this the best the pathetic Brotherhood of Light can send?
We have yet to see the Mirror of Fate. So this, I assume he's a Belmont. Might not be at Dracula's castle, he might be at a different castle. It almost has to be. It almost has to be he's at a different castle and he's oh, so there's the tease. You thought you were going to a castle, and he doesn't even go inside. And a lot of Lord of Shadows 1 really didn't take place in the castle anyways. So here we have one of the characters that, if I'm recalling correctly, it's been a long time since I played Lord of Shadows.
The mirror has shown you Gabriel's fate. You must protect the child from his father. Trevor and his lineage will be the only ones capable of facing him in the future.
So the guy on the left, the monster, is like a bad guy, if I recall correctly.
We will come for him at nightfall.
So I assume all of these guys are actually bad guys that they thought were good guys. But this has to have happened before the events of the first game. It kind of has to make any sense. So no voice dialogue here. So it was that Trevor Belmont, son of Gabriel and Mary Belmont, was taken from his mother's arms as a baby and raised up in the secret by the Brotherhood of Light. A secret Mara would take to her grave, Gabriel never knowing that he had a son by her. Although Gabriel later defeated the dread Lord of Shadows, Gabriel fell into darkness as foretold, becoming Dracula. So that is the events of the first game. Spoiler for the first game. Now atop his colossal mountain fortress, he delivers his war upon the Brotherhood and mankind. Trevor grew to manhood, oblivious to the true lineage, and had a son of his own, Simon Belmont. Our tale begins many years later, for through the son of Trevor Belmont, the deeds of a father can be revealed in the tragic. I missed that last sentence. It took too long for me to read. So 57 years later, we're now playing as Trevor. And I believe it's Trevor that's in the Netflix Castlevania Castlevania series, although I guess that doesn't really matter. No, this is Simon, though. Again, these cell shading graphics feel just completely out of place. Another thing that is interesting here is Mercury Systems was the developer of this game and the next game. I'm not sure if they were the developer of the first Lord of Shadows. So, Mirror of Fate and Lord of Shadows 2. So, it becomes questionable, when was the last time, if ever, that Konami actually made a Castlevania game? Or have they always just been licensing it out to some other developer? So we're not going to be playing as that guy. Okay. That's really then breaks it apart from the Lord of Shadows element. Every time I attack, it brings up the HUD, which is taking up quite a bit of screens. And we're at 1080p, but actually there are black bars on the left and right of the screen. So this is more of the idea that I would expect you would start a game like this at, is 1-2 hits at most to kill some simplistic, easy minions, and then we'll eventually get experience like we just did, and we'll get to power up our equipment. I'm in a weird position certainly for Castlevania games, because the 2D ones I've really never played. I never really played any of the Metroidvania games. I never really played any of the Castlevania games. So this is kind of the first time in my life I've ever played any of them. Let's go forward. The camera angles seem to swing kind of wildly. It seems like it's the same attack, it's just he has a whip instead of the chain cross, which I would like to see at some point, what his grab looks like and what his dodge looks like. And Let's see. There's the roll. Down is block. Back with left trigger is roll. Okay. You can see in the top map with the left stick, this is the health font, use it to recover life. So if I hold left stick, it turns off the mini map. That's not what I was expecting it to do. Let's hit the back button, or what would have been the back button, at least. So we can see that we're in the cursed village, and there's just a straight line on the map. We have this whip at level 1, and it looks like we'll probably get 4 elemental attacks if I were to guess. So I imagine you'll get ice, fire, wind, water type things. We've got a whole bunch of things. Like, oh, I may have to get good at the synchronized blocking. Then you have to pause on each of these. Timed at the right moment, it's possible to return to combat position quickly. So you want to tap A if you get knocked down. A lot of this looks like it's pretty basic stuff. And then when we get to up levels, we'll start unlocking other things. And it seems like level 18 is the max level you're going for. And then as we kill things, I assume we'll be unlocking bestiaries, which looks like there's a decent number of them, but possibly not as many as you would think. Like, I feel like some of the other Castlevania games have I'm at half-life max right now, apparently. So I need to upgrade my health. And right trigger to use anything. What am I supposed to be doing with this box? See, because we have this half thing. Oh, I guess I was jumping up there. This is one of the problems with 2.5D ideas. Is that a person, or is... it looks like a person. What does this do? Scroll. It was the elderly, the men and women and children, until there was not a single person left standing. Not long after that, the tombstones began to move. Neither the hard oak wood nor the heavy stones of their graves could prevent the return of the dead to the world of living. Collect Dead Knight scrolls to also increase your experience level. Right. And I imagine we can look at those in the menu. So this guy's got an axe in his head. There's not a lot going on right now. Audio wise, it's just kind of playing slightly dramatic music. You've obtained the throwing axe by press B to throw it, press and hold B to charge, then release the throw for a more devastating attack. Now I believe, yeah, you only have 5 of those, so that's a problem. Are there any new options? Like, the game straight up lied here. Like there is no options here to hide. Okay, here it is. If you press right stick, hide guide and secrets, show guide and secrets. So you can toggle that in your menu. But what I really would like to toggle is the hold left stick to toggle the mini-map off. Which the only way you could really do that then is, I guess, just have your mini-map off all the time. Which probably isn't going to be a big deal, because more than likely you're never going to need it. This is kind of slow. I would have preferred this to be a bit of more of a pushover. Could I lower the difficulty to easy at this point? Let's actually see this. These barrels cannot be broken with your main. Can be broken with your aim. Oh, they can be. Some of them drop ammunition for secondary weapons. So now I have 5 axes. And you're crawling under things. Yeah, there definitely is something with the audio here. So if I was to go to... I'm sorry for going to the menu so much. Yeah, you cannot change difficulty, so... If you found this was just a little slow at this point, like I am, you're kind of stuck with it. There's like one object. And it doesn't seem like there's really any reason why you would want to not fill your health up. See, as we crossed the bridge, the chain mechanism began to turn, quickly withdrawing the platform where we were standing on. Luckily, I had the reflexes to jump back in time and watch the rest of the company tumble into the abyss. So, that clearly is a reference. There's not a lot to say about the Netflix Castlevania series. It is fine. It is short, I would argue. And it jumps, particularly in the second season, which is actually just a continuation of the first season to give you a proper amount of content. It goes through storyline in the series that I would argue should have taken a lot longer to do. What you see in Castlevania Season 2 really does feel like something that should have happened more in Castlevania Season 3. And it's only a slight spoiler. I wonder what I'm supposed to do when the heads start flying towards me from these zombies, because clearly they're hurting me. Maybe I'm supposed to do a grab attack. Maybe that's what it is. Which that would make sense. Grab a head as it's floating towards you. Repel and swing points cannot be used with Simon's current weapon. This would be a good place to access the map, and I don't know what it said to do there after that part. It's not giving me enough time. A, view and edit notes. So I can put an X, apparently. Place a note. And then... Alright. So apparently I could type in that, which on the DS that would make sense. On PC I could do that with a keyboard, but I really wouldn't want to. Yeah, this feels like they're trying to integrate the second screen of the DS. I realized too late that I needed a combat cross to breach the platform now. With my back broken from the fall, all I can do is await death. My corpse will serve as a warning for others. Do not enter this evil place without the right equipment. So I guess the lower bar, the purple bar there, is our experience bar. Okay, so we need a combat cross. I assume I'm not supposed to just fall to my death. Although it seems like that might have been the faster way to get down. We have a new kind of enemy, I assume. Use L, press A to move faster. How much time do we have under the water? Well, there's also vents. Alright, let's swim under here and then see what that does. I don't know what I just collected, but it was a collectible. So let's look at that. New bestiary, which is just a 3D model viewer. Doesn't seem like you get any real XP or anything from that though. I'm going kind of far. So I want to be careful I'm not moving too far away. Creatures, centuries ago, pilgrims created this underground route to worship the spirit of a woman who was claimed to have the power of healing. The tunnels have traveled through seeking seeking health and good fortune now seem to be the only access to the castle. Right. And it seems to me like we are playing pretty basically and finding everything, so that's nice, because that means this probably isn't that difficult of a Castlevania game. I would be very hesitant to play some of the original Castlevania series. Frankly, those are games that are a little too hard in my mind and just a little too old-fashioned. That being said, this does feel a little too easy right now. And that might become some bit of a problem later, or the difficulty might ramp up quite a bit. So the heart with the spikes in it is just always going to be ammo. Let's just throw an axe. I don't think even on normal mode I can trade blow for blow. And how do I look down? Yeah, I know that there's something there. That's not the problem. The problem will be, how do I get back up? And there's a fish. Alright. So you don't really want to jump in the water. I tried to grab that, but it didn't work. So I imagine the trick to this is you're not actually supposed to grab or try and attack any of these guys. Right. So I get up to this, and then I was supposed to jump upward. Then I was supposed to jump over here. Jump to grab the rope. Now move over here. We're still very much in tutorial land. Right trigger to release. Right trigger to open. We've increased our maximum health. That's nice. And we're kind of at the... Let's see. We're at the second level of 18 already. This now we can hit X 5 times in a row and Y 4 times in a row. And I imagine that'll be how all of the bundles and all of the combos work. Very basic things. So far so good. We're kind of in a weird position because I both would like to hear more sound effects and have some more dialogue happen. Felt like there was a lot of talking that was happening and a lot of storyline that was happening in Lord of Shadows 1. It feels like you're going to basically get none of that because this is a DS game and all the text and all the dialogue is going to be written down. Because of that, all we've got is this very ambient, kind of dull, kind of boring background music that's going to get annoying very quickly. Difficulty wise, this game seems fine, but I also think I'm probably just going to try and rush through this. I don't want this to be a series that I try to be 100% completionist on and try and collect all of the little collectibles and unlock things. And I imagine there probably is some reason you would want to play this on hard mode and then hardcore mode on top of that. There might be a true ending or some more bosses that I miss, and I'll be fine with that. This is also probably one of the worst 2D, 2.5D Castlevania games to start with. I imagine if I instead was playing Castlevania 1, 2, or 3 for the first time, I'd get a much more accurate depiction of what the Castlevania in general is, and probably have a little bit more content and gameplay there. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.